Welcome, incredible agents and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, and this is Mastermind call number 229. Before we get started, we just want to welcome back our fearless partner and coach, Chad, after a month absence. Chad provided clean water to, Chad, tell them how many people. How many people did you provide water for while you were gone?
Well, while we were there physically, right around 1,000 people got clean water solutions, but we were able to generate enough money to reach over 6,000 people. So once we left, the Nepali team is still on the ground right now, running around in motorcycles and SUVs, getting everything else implemented from the residual from our trip. So in total, about 7,000 people in a month.
That is awesome. Congratulations. But something to be proud of. I enjoyed your Facebook post that you were about twice as tall as the average person there. Chad,
yeah, I was a spectacle.
Chad is 6'7". I think they call him Yeti. A lot of the little 4-foot people that were there. So, well, we're glad to have you.
I think they were selling tickets in Kathmandu. There were people following me selling tickets. So I'm pretty sure they capitalized on it.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you back. If neither of my other partners have anything to add, let's get to the queue. We got an incredible turnout. If you do have something this week, just hit *6 and hit 1. I would do it now because the queue is full. Tim or Tom, anything you want? Oh, yeah, please, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to remind everybody, it's been a few weeks since I said anything, but May Probate Mastery has been scheduled, and we've got quite a few in the class. There's still some room. It's next week, the 28th, 29th, and 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern each day. So if you're interested in Mastery, you can check your email or look on the website, alltheleads.com under Education and Training. But there's still time to jump in if you want to do that in May.
Excellent. Tim or Tom, anything you want to add before we get started?
Not a thing for me, Ben.
All right. Tommy, you good?
I'm good, thanks.
All right, let's get to the queue, guys. Great job on participation this week. First up is phone number ending in 6818. I believe that is Grant. Is that you, Grant?
Yes. Hey, Jim. How are you?
Great. Good to hear from you. How you been?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, so two quick comments. First, so my first probate deal went on the market Tuesday morning at 5:30. It is Thursday morning. Since then, we've had over 30 showings and 15 offers. And wow. I'm in a position now where not only are we asking for highest and best, but there may be an appraisal issue because the price is starting to kind of set records for that area. It's nothing crazy, but first in my career to have something like that. So definitely proud the way things are going. So thank you guys for all your help on that end. And then secondly, there was some furniture left over, and so I'm actually involved with a veterans organization locally. So if anyone is looking for other charities and things, stop by a local veterans assistance or something like that and ask them, because they probably could use anything and everything you have as well. So just wanted to share those two little tidbits.
Oh, thank you, Grant. Congratulations on the win. And if you want to post something about your charity on our Facebook group, feel free. You know, it's one of the reasons it's there, to network with. I think we have about 5,000 people now in the Facebook group, Chad. Pretty close, right?
Approaching that, yeah.
Yeah, like in the high 4s. So
I think
yeah,
like
that's great.
Something.
Excellent. Well, I think safe to say you got your first probate listing, and I'm pretty safe to say you'll have your first sale soon, Grant. So thanks for sharing. We appreciate it, and congratulations.
Yes, thank you, guys.
All right, excellent. Next up is phone number ending in 1223. You're up next.
Hey guys, this is James. I'm calling from Southern California. I've actually spoken with you once before. You guys were incredibly helpful, as always. So I just have two very brief, simple questions. You've probably addressed them before. I'm sorry, but something that I've encountered pretty frequently. So I just kind of wanted your insight on it. So the first question is, if a contact has multiple phone numbers, which most of them do, right? how do you feel about the voicemail and how often to leave it, right? If there's 4 numbers, do you leave it on all 4 numbers if you have the option, or just on one? And if so, which one? I mean, what's your guys' insight on that?
Sure.
So this is
Chad, go
Chad.
ahead. You've answered that, yeah, many times.
Yeah, so I mean, my personal policy is, you know, if you're calling once, I definitely leave a message on all the numbers. How often you leave messages really depends on your call frequency. So if you're really aggressive and you're calling 2-3 times a week, don't leave a message every time, because you're just going to, you know, become a pain to them. But if you're calling once a month, certainly leave a message every time on every number. And,
Okay.
you know, you kind of have to use your discretion. Like, if you're calling once a week until you reach them, maybe leave a voicemail the first time and then not on the follow-up calls. You know, you can use your discretion to figure out how often is often enough. But I would definitely leave it on all the phone numbers, because you never know who, you know, you never know which one they're going to call back on.
Sure. And actually, I'd like to take the opportunity to apologize to you guys and to the whole group, because as soon as you started answering it, I remembered that. So my apologies for that. Also, Chad, that's awesome what you're doing with the water. I mean, seriously, that's pretty cool. I forgot to say that at the beginning. My second question, very brief, pretty simple. I don't think I remember you covering it. I'm sure you have. I just don't know if I've been in on one of the calls or if I've listened to any of the recordings. Have you found any specific times of the day or days of the week which yield more results, or is it just pretty random?
So before we built the call center, I had in my real estate team, I pulled a study that MIT did back in like 2013 or 14. And what they found in a nutshell is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. were like 116% more likely to convert during those times. However, since we have progressed through this and we've built a call center, obviously you can't just make calls in those prime blocks. Now we're going to try to, you know, because we're calling in all different time zones. But honestly, I mean, you can convert any day of the week. It's more about frequency, I think, a lot of times, because people are just really busy and life is busy. So if you're not, you know, best practice is continue calling until you speak to somebody. Don't leave too many voicemails. But you can you know, experiment with those time blocks. So midweek, 8 to 10 and 4 to 6. And then also experiment, throw in a Saturday, throw in a Sunday. Like a Sunday from 1 to 3 is a good block. Or a Saturday from like 11 to 1 can be a good block. So, you know, you're trying to reach people at different times, because a lot of these folks are going to be in that 45 to 65-year-old range. So a lot of them are still working. So evenings and weekends can, you know, increase your rates. If you're not getting good contact rates, try to throw in some evenings and weekends or before 9 a.m.
Okay.
Perfect. And Tim, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say is that you got to also take it in consideration that you're talking to people who typically, if you think about the person who might be appointed as the personal representative, these also maybe people who are working and in most cases probably are working. You know, people tend to leave it to somebody who they think is highly responsible, or maybe it's a child and, you know, they have work to do and all that. So what we're trying to do is trying to space the calls out. So we've now adopted a policy of making 2 passes through. When we're doing it at the call center, we make 2 passes through the list, and we try to call at 2 different times of the day to increase our options to make that connection. So that's important to remember, and it's important to remember if you're making your calls yourself.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And I remember some of the advice about the voicemail. We actually just started, so right now the voicemail is pretty vague, but we're in the process, literally next week, of starting to send out the physical mail. So then we actually have, you know, it's a little bit of a warmed up call. We at least have something, you know, to reference at the beginning. So awesome. Well, once again, you guys have been a big help. I will call back next week and see if we've yielded any results by that time.
I was going to add one quick thing to that. When I was an agent, I used to make 100 contacts a day, every day, and I found for me, like if I called 3 times during the week and they didn't answer, I could call 15 times during the week and they still weren't going to answer. So I would try them 3 times during business hours, and then I think I used to come in like Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. And the ones that I had tried 3 times during the week and couldn't get, I graduated them to a night appointment. And if they didn't answer that, then I moved them up to Saturday, like Chad said, 11 to 2 on Saturday. It amazed me how many of them that just didn't answer their phone during the day did answer in the night and weekend slots. So it just depends how many days a week you want to work and how many hours. But if what you're doing isn't working, try something different. You know, if you're not getting them during the day, just vary the times, like Tim and Chad said.
Sure, yeah,
Make sense?
that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Starting in the morning if they don't answer, start in the evening if they don't answer, start in the weekend. That makes perfect sense.
Exactly. All right. Excellent. Anything else?
Nope, that's going to do it. You guys have been a big help. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Guys, we
Right,
got the queue is almost full. Jump in there if you want to participate. *6 and then hit 1. Next up is phone number ending in 9024. You're up next. Kimberly, I think, are you there? 9024. Hello, hello. You have to unmute yourself. If you hit *6, I think you have to hit 1 to unmute yourself. Are you there? 9024. All right. Well, we're going to move on. 9024. Try it again. Hit *6 and then make sure you hit 1 afterwards, and that'll unmute you. Next up is phone number ending in 0894. You're up next.
Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Marquise. I'm from Atlanta.
Hey, Marquise, can you move a little closer to the phone? Or if you're on a speakerphone, can you maybe pick up? It sounds like you're kind of muffled.
Hello, is that better?
Much better. Perfect. Thank you.
All right,
yes.
Yes, I'm from Atlanta. I'm new to the business, but probate is my love, man. This is my everything.
Good. Any questions? Anything we can help you with?
Yes. So I went actually walking for dollars yesterday, and I came across a property. I met one of the neighbors, and she had referred me to a property where someone had passed, and I looked it up, and the property has not been probated. So I wanted to know, how do I get that process started?
So
go ahead, Chad.
You have to, you first need to make contact with a surviving family member. Have you pulled the tax card and found out who's on title?
I did, but both of those people are deceased. So I did skip trace some of the other family members as well, and I was able to speak with a guy that said that his sister should be the petitioner, well, no, the heir, but he's not sure exactly on how the process goes. So I want to help.
Okay, so you've made contact with a family member who is willing to initiate probate.
Yes.
Cool. Then you just need to show them to the county clerk's office, and the clerk will help, start the process, and then they'll most likely get a probate attorney involved, and then obviously, you can make those introductions and keep in touch with them so you remain front of mind to them. But I mean, you did the right thing. Like, you needed to find a family member. You've done that. Now you just need to, help them understand the first step in the process is filing with the county clerk's office the probate to initiate. And you file that petition for probate, and then they'll start to walk them through the legal steps of it. Then you can start to have the conversations about, asset disposition.
Okay. And how far in that process would it be before I could actually do a deal with the property?
Typically within a couple of weeks they'll have their articles, so their letters of testamentary. So they'll initiate the probate process by filing the petition for probate. When the next hearing comes up, the next court date for probate comes up, then they'll most likely be appointed officially there, and they'll have their letters of testamentary, and at that point you can sign a purchase agreement, listing agreement. You know, they have the authority to do whatever they want with the property.
So is that
Where did you say you're located, Bud?
I'm in Atlanta.
So the only other thing I'd add is that, unfortunately, you're in a market that the court itself appears to be a bit slow in terms of processing information. They got a good backlog of info. So if you're carrying them to an attorney, one of the questions that you need to encourage them to ask the attorney is, how quickly will this get through? Do you have the ability to get this fast-tracked, all that sort of stuff? Otherwise, Fulton County seems to be taking a pretty long time to get stuff through the court system there. So that's just something to keep in mind in your particular market. There are 2 or 3 markets in the country where the court system seems a little bit slower than others, and unfortunately you're in one that's the case, because oftentimes when we pull probate leads there, we have to look at them and we see that, you know, while the lead was just probated, or while the information was just probated recently, the actual dates and all were a good bit older, and so it's just taking time to get it through the system. So encourage them to get an attorney who can push it quickly.
Okay. And actually, I was just at Fulton County Probate Office for the past 2 days, but this particular property is in Clayton County, right below Fulton County.
Okay, and I don't know anything about Clayton County, and I suspect it's probably different down there. Usually smaller counties are faster.
Right.
I mean, the amount of volume that Fulton County's doing is certainly significantly larger than Clayton, so you bet that might be good. But the same question still should apply. Is, you know, if you're gonna be the guy who helps them find the right person to work with, then you need to also be part of that conversation and ask the attorney, how long is it likely to take to do this?
How long does it take to do this?
Okay.
I'm taking notes. I also have another question as well. As far as success rate, which would be better, contacting attorneys or cold calling for sellers?
Well, you can be successful doing either. It's more a timing thing. So, like going direct to the personal representative is obviously the fastest path to a deal. They're the decision makers, where with attorneys it's more of, you know, it's a marathon. So you're building relationships and earning referrals rather than just going directly to somebody with an offer. So you should be doing both at the same time. Neither one is mutually exclusive. So, you know, get your marketing out there, start making phone calls, and anytime you have an hour, get out there and start getting face to face with the attorneys, and you'll have business from both branches.
Gotcha.
All right, sir. That help?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. I also wanted to add in anyone in this queue. If you're looking to work with anyone in Atlanta, please give me a call. My number is 678-751-0894. My guest again, my name is Marquis Smith, and the number is 678-751-0894. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Hey, Marquis, the best way to get your information out there, if you do want to network with realtors in your market, go to our Facebook group and put your info in there. More people will see it, and it'll be easier for them to find it. Just if you're not a member of the Facebook group, just go to Facebook, go to All the Leads Mastermind, and just ask to be. It's a closed group, but as long as we see you're a real estate professional, we'll let you in. So
Gotcha.
put that info there also.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, sir. Appreciate it.
I thank you guys so much. Can't wait to look.
All right, you're very welcome. Next up is phone number ending in 1036. You're up next.
Hi there. My name's Steve Sheffer. I'm from York, Pennsylvania. I just had a story I wanted to share. So far, we've been doing probates for about 4 months now. I had 2 appointments, and the one lady, she calls me, and she's, you know, we go over to her house, and we're looking at the situation. We give her a couple options. You know, we could do a cash offer, or, you know, if you want to list the house as is, we could probably get you X amount of dollars. If you're looking for a couple more, maybe we could do some improvements, but she wasn't really into that. They're kind of struggling. So then she's talking about some other stuff going on with the house. She's like, yeah, I got this yard that needs mowed. And she said, and this pool is full with water. I said, tell you what, Beverly, I said, I'll bring my mower over here in a couple of days, and I'll mow it. And I said, I'll bring my pump that I have for my pool, and I'll sit there, and we'll get this thing all cleaned out. So I went over a couple days later, and I mean the grass was about a foot high at this point, and so we're mowing through it, and then as I'm there, this guy comes and he is there to pick up the dialysis machine because the personal representative was actually like an 80-year-old lady. It was the mother of her son that passed, and so she's trying to handle this estate. We hear she lives in Maryland also. And like I said, we're in Pennsylvania, so the dialysis man comes and he has the wrong number for it. I'm working, and she's like, I don't know what to do. And I said, Beverly, I said, if you want, I said, I'll drive down to Dundalk, Maryland. I said, I'll come pick the key and I'll get this taken care of for you. And she's like, no, don't worry about it. And I said to her, and she's like, you're just so nice. I said, honestly, I said, you remind me of my grandmother. I said, I can only imagine what you're going through right now, dealing with this, trying to settle, your son's estate. There's not really a lot of equity in the property and stuff. So she's trying to figure out how can she get out of this almost unscathed, and that was what we were trying to do. And she said, Steve, I'll pay you for. I said, don't worry about that. I said, that's not what it's about. I said, it's just helping people. That's what we do. And then I did speak to her a couple days later, and she said, well, you were the first people that came out. We don't know. And I said, okay, no problem. You let me know. And she's kind of gotten quiet. We actually reached out to the attorney and just kind of left a message with his assistant and said, hey, we're trying to help her out, and we kind of want to encourage her, hey, look, she's losing equity, daily, and what needs to happen. So we said if the lawyer could put a bug in her ear. Didn't hear anything back yet on that one, but really it was, I love the concept of when, I went through the whole course, the probate masterminds and this empathetic approach and how, we're there to help people, and it's not so much. And I really do stress that when I talk to people, and, and I mean that. I'm not just saying it to get in the door, and I have, beliefs and other higher things, and I think that's what drives me. And I was one of those things I just kind of realized. I always have my alarm set for 12:55 on Thursday afternoons. I was like, you know what, I want to call and share that story. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Provide value.
So Chad, you're teaching him to start a lawn service, right? Always mow the people's lawn immediately. Just kidding.
Yeah.
That's a great story. That's really above and beyond, I think, anything that Chad teaches or we intend for you to do, Steve. But what do you think the chances are that she'll end up, giving you the deal?
I think there's a good possibility. Like I said, she got quiet the last couple of times I called. She didn't answer, return my call, and I think maybe she's just kind of nervous and intimidated, and she doesn't really know what to do. And if she kind of comes around in a couple weeks and thinks to herself, you know what, I need to do something, Steven, and my other team member were there, and they, kind of showed me what we could do, and, we'll see, so.
Yeah. Great attitude, though. Go ahead, Chad. I interrupted you. You were commenting?
Nope, I'm done.
Nope? Okay. Yeah, congratulations. Great attitude. With that kind of an attitude, Steve, you will get many deals. So a good story. Thanks for sharing.
Yep.
We know what the next step in your marketing sequence is, because the yard's going to need mowed next week.
Hey, whatever works, I'm down,
Awesome. Thank you, sir. All right, we got a full queue still, guys. Great job. We're going to I'm going to shut the queue off in 5 minutes, so if you do want to get in, hit *6 and hit 1 now. Next up is phone number ending in 1144. You're up next.
Hello, it's Joe Lehman in Montgomery, Alabama.
Big Joe, you are a winner of the week a couple weeks ago. You got another good story for us?
I do, actually.
Great.
That little bit of land, that kind of junk land that the attorney listed with me when I called on him, I've now put that under contract with both the buyer and the seller, and we're closing next week. So
awesome.
That's my first deal with income from, and I'm only working my second list so far. So, I'm probably, that should give me income more than I've expensed so far since joining all the leads. So
you got a positive ROI. That's what it's all about. That's great.
Right, but here's the interesting part of the story. because I had that listing, an agent over in Georgia was looking for an agent in Alabama to handle their family land in Elmore County, and this little piece of land was on Wetumpka Highway going up into Elmore County. And she found me on Zillow with that land and called me and said, "Do you sell land?" I said, "I sure do." So now I've listed 72 acres of land from that agent, and she didn't even want a referral fee.
Wow. Good for you. That's great.
From calling on that attorney, I got that little piece of land that I've now double-sided, and now I've got another big land listing up in Elmore County, or good-sized land tract. So it all came from one call on an attorney.
So
that's great,
guys.
And what's your plans to meet more of those attorneys?
I'm really, gosh, I had wanted to try and call on at least 6 a week, and I have been so wrapped around the axle busy with deals getting done that I haven't made that goal. But I will be back on it. After Memorial Day, I'm back on it.
And yeah, Joe, what is 70? Go ahead, Chad.
I was just going to say, I mean, a dose of encouragement. We have members who have done over 100 transactions from one single attorney. So if you can get a half a dozen relationships like that, I mean, it could be, listings on autopilot.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, what is 72 acres of land? What does 72 acres of land in Tennessee go for?
No, this is in Alabama.
In Alabama, I'm sorry. What does 72 acres go for there?
This is out in the boonies in Alabama, and the land itself is 1,600 to 1,800 an acre, but I'm having a timber cruise done on it. It's got 30 years of growth since it was last cut, so we're probably going to be able to get that up around $3,000 an acre.
Okay, excellent.
Cruise.
Good for you, man. That's great. Yeah, like Chad said, we have so many, we've got, especially it seems in the rural areas, we've got a lot of, or in the smaller markets, it works everywhere, but we've got Roger Lacey, who's done phenomenally well every time he takes a listing or, gets us, and then that listing sells, he adopts everybody he meets in the process into his sphere of influence and markets to them on a regular basis. And I know, Joe, you are a real estate coach. I know you're going to do the same thing. So, you can get 3 deals out of every probate deal you close if you work it correctly. Great job.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for sharing, man. Congratulations. You're in the mix for the winner of the week again.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Next up is phone number ending in 2686.
Hi, this is Kevin and Alice.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, Kevin. Alice, how you doing?
Yeah, doing good. We have 2 questions.
Sure.
The first one is we've gotten better with the scripts, and we've gotten further, and now we're running into a kind of a brick wall, if you will, of not being able to get appointments. They either want more info, or they're hesitant, or we're not going to do something for the next several months. I know this is a common topic, but if you could maybe give some opinions or tips on that.
So, and you've probably heard me talk about it before, Kevin, but like from the second I pick up the phone, I'm thinking, what is my outcome? And my outcome is typically always with these folks, get in front of them as soon as possible. And I'll have paperwork with me even if they're not ready. I just need to get in front of them. So that's kind of the outcome that I have in mind, and that's what's pulling the questions to the front of mind as we're talking. So I'm thinking, okay, what's the personal property situation? What's the real property? Like, what's their biggest challenge? Is there any reason I can drop by the house to take a look at something, bring somebody else by to look at something? Like, how can I get in front of this person? Because what I find with those people who are apprehensive, they're just procrastinating. They're in a really uncomfortable situation. They're emotionally raw, and it's just easier to put your head in the sand and just say, can you call me back in a month? But the reality is a better salesperson will get that listing or that deal. So I don't ever pressure anyone if they are really just grief-stricken. I'm not a high-pressure salesperson, but if I know they're standing in their own way, I'll do whatever I can to get. Yeah. Jim, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh.
You can't hear us?
On your side, Kevin.
Can't hear anybody.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, you'll be able to hear the recording. I mean, the idea is to just in asking questions, gather as much information as you can so you can find any reason to get in front of them. Maybe that's a CMA, maybe that's a personal property assessment where you bring your estate sale company by. Maybe you even bring someone from a used durable medical goods company by to look at buying the handicap ramp out front. Just anything that you can get them to talk about that you could have a reason to physically show up. Because when you do and they understand what your model is and what you can offer, then you're going to stand out above anyone who could possibly come by. So if you're having trouble getting those appointments, ask more questions and just try to find any reason you can to get in front of them with value. And typically that will earn you the business.
Perfect. We lost them, but hopefully they'll listen to the recording and they'll get your answer. Thanks, Chad. All right. Well, now we lost a few people in the queue. We're down to 4. There is room for more, so hit *6 and hit 1, and I'll open the queue back up. We probably have time for about 5 or 6 more people. Next up is phone number ending in 2729. You're up next. Hello, hello. We're having a secret agent today. Phone number 2729, are you there? All right, let's go then next to phone number ending in 9607.
Is anybody here but me and you, Jim?
I don't know. Tom, Tim, are you there, Tom?
I'm here. Can you gentlemen hear me?
Yeah, we're all here.
Oh, yeah. There we can hear the call.
You guys disappeared for a while. I mean, when you said, can anybody hear us but the two of us, you were gone for the whole time.
Really?
Really interesting. Sorry about that, guys. Nobody signed off. We've got over 100 people. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's got to be related to the conference company that we're using. Anyway, sorry about that. You're up next, 9607. Are you there?
This is the first time I've ever jumped. Yep, this is the first time I've ever jumped on your call.
Okay.
I've been considering getting into the probate thing and using all the leads. And I was wondering a couple of things. One, can you expand on or plug your probate mastery class that you mentioned on the very beginning of the call? And 2, I live in Colorado, and from what little I've learned about this so far, it sounds like our rules are a little different here in Colorado as far as how things are posted and then how they're gathered through all the leads, in that I guess Colorado doesn't allow for certain information to be published until there's actually already, probate has already been at least opened, if not even closed, and then the personal representative has the deed and things like that. I don't know if you know those rules and if you can expand on them a little bit.
Sure. Go ahead, Chad. Those are both yours, please.
So Mastery is our highest level of training. It comes with a national certification, a CPE or Certified Probate Expert. The whole intent of it is not to make you a probate attorney or a legal expert. It's to give you confidence and a unique offer like no one else in the country really has. So we break it into 3 sessions. In session 1, we really focus on kind of the demographic profile, like the demographics and the numbers behind why this is an opportunity and why over the next 4 decades it's growing exponentially. Day 2, we kind of look at everything that you can do. So I've done a little bit about everything you can do in real estate from an investor and a brokerage standpoint. So it's really a cross training. It's not specific to either side of the fence. We believe everybody should kind of approach this in the same way to start more conversations. So we'll show you everything from a simple conventional deal all the way to a very creative, partnering with the family and doing different creative financing and what all you can do. And also how do you find the people to help you do that without working yourself to death, providing all these options. And then session 3, we take about 4 hours and break apart a 20-minute conversation. And there's lots of tips and tricks and kind of negotiation tactics and questions to ask and objection role play. But we really try to get you to where you have, the ultimate level of confidence to pick up the phone, because you're clear on what you're doing, you're clear on how you can make an impact, and you know what to say. And that's really what it's designed for, is to have you come out with confidence in your offer. And it's $250. We typically we've been running between 6 and 8 hours on the course. It's an interactive training, so everybody comes to a GoToWebinar, and we do it live. Everything's video recorded, and it's emailed to you immediately following. And if you ever, and then obviously we have kind of a higher level Facebook group just for Probate Mastery alumni. And if you ever want to come back for a refresher, you're welcome back as many times as you would like. I think the record is I think one lady has been through Mastery 9 times, and she keeps coming back.
And then on that Mastery piece, is there other? I think I saw your email on it. That's why it kind of jarred my memory when I heard you talk about it in the beginning of this call. Is there also then kind of lists and things like that in there of, say, service providers and things like that typically people will offer as far as helping these people get through the process?
There's not necessarily a national roster, but what I'll do is I'll show you each team member that can help you, and then I'll show you at least 2 ways to go find that person. So we have I look at kind of a long-term, short-term, long-term approach. So I'll teach you how to find, estate sale companies, clean-out crews, contractors, social workers, nursing home employees, registered investment advisors. I'll give you at least a couple of resources and tricks to get those people put together quickly.
Okay, but then you even have a list of all those different service providers that you were just referencing?
We don't, because
not them specifically, but just all the different trades that may be needed in the course of this? Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We'll walk you through each of the the titles and then show you how to find those in your market.
Right. Yeah, no, I wasn't looking for you guys having to figure that out in my market. I just wanted to know what all the things are that you've come across so far that are, typical in a scenario where you're dealing with an estate and getting somebody's place sold. And so that was the stuff I was looking for. And then, if you have any opinion on Colorado's rules, laws as far as the state and all that kind of stuff goes.
Sure. So Colorado is different, and it seems to be trending in more of a negative direction. They basically season their probate data before it's recorded. You can get it in real time. It just is cost prohibitive for most people because of the record access. However, what we find, and I've coached, I don't know, at this point, dozens of people around, the Denver, eastern Colorado. It works in all those markets. So Colorado Springs, Denver, Boulder, everywhere we've done this with the right person, with the right mindset, there are deals there. So what we find is that it seems, that a lot of them are sold by the time they record once the probate's filed, there's a $0 transfer and then the family sells. A lot of them will be sold by that point. But what we teach is a 2-prong approach, and that's the other thing I didn't really mention in the Mastery summary, is we teach you how to build a referral network. So we're getting you out there to probate attorneys, family law attorneys, nursing homes, social workers, people who have contact with families in that end-of-life phase. So we're showing you how to get upstream of the actual probate recording and earn that business. And the model that we teach, kind of the team approach and the options approach, it applies to people who are in trust, people who, just had to put a family member in the nursing home. So we'll show you ways to kind of still have an edge, even though you've got a bit of a disadvantage in your courthouse in Colorado.
And even in the most aggressive markets, correct me if this is wrong, Chad, but I think even if a significant number of them are sold, generally at least half of them are not. So, it's kind of a glass half full approach. There's still, bad news is half of them are going to be sold. The good news is the other half now are authorized to sell quickly. You don't have to wait till the probate's done, and the ones that haven't sold are usually pretty motivated to do so. So is that pretty accurate, Chad? Even at least half of them are still going to be available. So you know,
Yeah,
look at it.
I mean, the last time we took a deep dive on it, we did like it was up north of Denver, like Arapahoe, and there were 3 counties. But anyways, what we found is about 45% of them had sold, but we were able to get about 4% conversion off of the total list. Even though we knew that almost half were sold, we still got like 4 out of 100 by following kind of our recipe. So send the letters, follow up with a phone call. Excuse me. And something that's common there, because there is a delay in the data, a lot of folks are skip tracing and harassing all family members, even if they don't have the authority to make decisions. So what we find is a lot of family members just kind of shut the doors and lock themselves in. So once that pressure comes off, when the right person comes along with the right message, that's when you see there's easy conversions. And it's something we kind of had to learn in Colorado. I'm like, why is this not working? And what we found is once everyone else has forgotten about that family and they've got some space, then they're far more likely to pick up your call and, you know, call you from the letter. So there's certainly business there. It's you know, not quite as quick as most markets.
And Paul, if you want to talk about it a little bit further, we can call you after the call and, you know, kind of dive deeper into the differences in Colorado.
Yeah,
that'd
be
pretty
awesome.
much answer.
I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, you have my number. I'm assuming, and
Yep.
if you can, yeah, that'd be awesome. I just am trying to figure that. I live in Colorado Springs. When
Sure.
I talk to one of your sales reps, that currently it doesn't sound like anybody's subscribing to alltheleads.com. So I mean, you know,
Yep.
that in my court is probably a win.
You got it. We'll reach out to you right after the call. Appreciate it. All right.
We even have
got
a couple
6.
of letters.
Yeah, what's that?
A couple of letters we wrote specifically for Colorado Springs because we were having trouble with competitive. So you even have your own letters.
Excellent. We got 6 more in the queue, guys. We're going to try to get through all of you. Next up is our friend Cliff. Cliff 7477. You're up next.
Hey guys, hi. How are you all doing?
Great.
A couple of questions. I have one I'm working on right now. It turns out that the personal representative is the probate attorney. So it kind of presented an opportunity to do a little marketing at the same time as trying to do the deal. So far, great. I got a listing at the price I wanted, which was the lowest in the community, and it generated a lot of offers again, like the last time, and I have offers that are significantly higher than listing, and the attorney is very impressed. Wow, isn't this offer higher than the listing? Yeah, it is. And in fact, I'm getting another offer today even higher, so I keep my fingers crossed that we can keep doing this. I think the key there is to get a listing at the low price. That's the key. Because if you're trying to get too much in your listing, it's going to be hard, obviously not impossible to do that. He thought that when he gave me the authority for the list price that, well, he actually made me bump it up $5,000. He said, I want to give them room to be able to come down. I said, okay. But in the end, we're actually going to get it sold for more. So that's just like a success story that's going on right now. Hopefully he will send me some referrals in the future because I think he's going to have to like what he sees. He did ask me to do something which raised a question. He said, can you change the close of escrow to coordinate with the creditor's time limit running out? And I mean, as the guy was getting paid a commission, I don't really want to wait an extra several weeks. I'd rather get paid. What do you think is going on? Do you think the attorney's just trying to consolidate his time so they can make one appearance to close the escrow and to close on the property and the probate all at the same time and not have to make 2 appearances? Is that what he's doing? Because that would be my guess. I don't want to pressure him too much to get it closed sooner, but if I can get it closed sooner, I don't see what the harm is.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my guess too. It's probably self-serving. It's so he has to do less work. One thing I would say, you should have said, listen, I'm just getting into this. Can you help me understand why? Is there something I should know about closing timelines? And hear the answer from him and see.
All right, I'll ask him that. Another question. How many months should we keep sending letters and keep calling?
Depends on your budget. I mean, in a perfect world, you should keep mailing and calling until you've spoken to everybody, because you never know the story or the need until you've done that, right? But obviously it becomes, it gets expensive and it gets time consuming. So, we teach the minimum effective dose is 3 letters spaced out 30 days and each followed by a phone call. But the more you can do with letters and calls, the more likely you are to convert. So whatever you can afford and tolerate.
I see. Well, one of the things I'm doing, I'm using an assistant out of the Philippines who I've been working with and training to sound better and et cetera, to make the initial calls for me to try to get me a phone appointment. And I'm wondering what you folks have experienced as the best hours to be calling people, because all these calls for between 9 a.m. and 4 or 5 p.m., it just goes straight to voicemail. Very, very few people are there. I mean, what are the best hours to call in your opinion?
Welcome to 2019. Nobody answers the phone anymore, right? So we talked about this a little earlier in this call. We found success at almost all hours of the day. It's just a matter of frequency more than anything. Like, people are busy and they don't always pick up. I mentioned earlier an MIT study. It was a prospecting study over 88,000 real estate prospecting calls. And they found that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 to 10 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m. were that you were 116% more likely to convert during those time periods than other time blocks in the week. So you could try that. The other suggestion we made today is, try to call before 9 a.m. midweek. Try to call after 5 p.m. midweek. And if you're not getting traction, throw in a Saturday call block, like 11 to 2, 11 to 3. And then a Sunday, maybe from like 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. And just try to switch up your, the days you're calling, because most of these folks are, like I said earlier, 45 to 65 years old. They're professional. They've got their act together. That's why they've been appointed, and they're busy people. So just keep trying at different times. And honestly, like, not every market's the same. Like, some markets are stronger in the morning and some are stronger in the evening. You just kind of have to. Don't be afraid to move call blocks and test things.
Chad, we lost Cliff. I don't know if he had to go or if he dropped out of the queue, but Cliff, if you can hear us, congratulations. And Cliff's in a market where he gets 400 leads a month and hyper competitive, and it seems like he's averaging at least a deal a week. So please keep it up and keep coming back and sharing those stories with us. We appreciate it. Next up is phone number ending in 2729. You're up next.
Hi, this is Bill Janiga from Michigan.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Hi. I just want to let you know one thing. Last week I called, and I was able to have a gentleman named Jordan call me back. And as a result of that, I did sign up for one of the counties. And yesterday I did your fast track and moved over my website from the other company. So what I thought was interesting is the quality of your service. Seeing that all of us are in the service industry to some degree, it's nice that people actually call back. So I think that's a real kudo for you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
You can call every week and say that. We don't mind. We have a crew of about 30-some people right now. It's amazing how quick we've grown, but we never want to sacrifice quantity for quality. So we are kind of fanatical about customer service, and thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate it. If it was up to me, I'd give you the win of the week just for that. But after you get a deal, call back next time, and we'll put you in contention. But seriously, thank you for comment. We appreciate it.
I sent an information email to you yesterday, which is a separate issue. The other thing I came across on Tuesday at the county seat was an item called a mini probate, which is the first one that I've seen. And basically it was dollar driven to the estate. And in this particular case, it was something under $27,000. So
right.
I did reach out to the young lady that was associated to it. And basically they have nothing, and it's sort of sad. They're trying to do it with the help of basically the equivalent of a public attorney. But it's interesting as that's the first one that I've ever seen.
So I've never even heard of that, Bill. So typically in most states, if the total value of the estate is less than $100,000, it doesn't require probate. That's one of the most common, it's the most common exemption to probate. So you may dig into, if you can find your state code or call the probate clerk and kind of dig into that, you may be able to help the family avoid this altogether. I haven't done anything in Michigan, so I'm kind of ignorant in your state, but I know that in almost every other state that estate would not have to be probated.
Right. Well, they were very nice to talk to, and I offered the assistance as I've done 4 probates before, with actually opening them and finishing them. And hopefully, we can at least help the lady out, because you feel sorry for them after you speak to them, but it's just one of those things. But that's the first time I've run across anything called a mini probate. So I just.
And that's actually what they call it, like MINI-probate? Is that how it's written in the court?
Yep, it's actually in the documentation.
Interesting.
If I can pull it up again, I'll just scan it and send it to you.
Yeah, send it over. We'll take a look at it.
I would like to see that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. You have a great day.
Thanks again. Next up is phone number ending in 6677. You're up next.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, Chad. I wanted to say I'm excited for next week. Signed up for the Probate Mastery course, and I'm looking forward to doing that with you and learning a lot about that. So, Jim, I went and, as you recommended last week, to just go up and approach some attorneys and say, hey, guys, like, I'm new. I'm new to this. I'm passionate about this, and I want to get really good at this. And I just cold walked into both 2 attorneys' offices. And the first one, and I'm an investor, so I'm not an agent. The first one, I didn't even get past the woman in the front. It might have been my unique selling proposition. I wasn't really sure. But she said, why are you here? And I said, I want to learn about the probate process from one of the best probate attorneys in Pittsburgh and see if I could help him with referrals. And she just kind of threw me aside. And then the second one, it was a little more casual because I'm in the Pittsburgh market. The second one, I walked in and I said, hey, I'd love to talk to attorney Michael. Love to maybe help him out with his business in any way possible. And I went into the back, and he started asking me questions, and I said, I kind of basically told him, hey, I'm really passionate about learning about this. You're one of the best in Pittsburgh. I'd love to see if I can help you and service you and everything. And he basically looked at me, and he was like, who is this kid? And he gave me like 5 minutes in his office. He was asking me all these questions, like, are you an agent? Like, and I said, yeah. Well, I've reached out to a couple of agents in the Pittsburgh area that I know I can refer your clients to, and he basically was like, nice to meet you, man. Come back whenever you have legitimate things to tell me. And I'm telling you this story because I got to the position, I got in there, and I said basically, hey, I'm as green as grass. I don't know where to go from there because I don't have any experience in the probate field, and I'm not an agent. Yeah.
So by next Thursday, you're going to have a whole different approach. And in the interest of time, we get more people in the queue. I'll tell you that you're gonna get everything you need in Mastery.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things. I mean, good on you for getting out there and doing it and failing forward. But you have a lot more value than you're giving yourself credit for right now. And that's what all session 2 is about, structuring that. When he said, are you a realtor, you should have said, actually, no, I don't need to be because I have an amazing team member that handles brokerage. And you can answer in a positive way like that instead of saying, well, no, I'm not a realtor. You can say, nope, but I've got the best damn one in Pittsburgh, and things like that. So we'll work on a lot of that and how you can, structure your offer and then how you approach the attorneys with that offer.
All right, well, we got 4 more in the queue, guys. We're going to go at least 5, maybe 10 minutes over this week. We want to get to everybody. Next up is phone number ending in 2686. You're up next.
Hi, Chad. This is Alice. I have a question. We have a listing that we got. It's a probate listing. Do we need to insert in the special provisions any kind of verbiage, or should we just go ahead and call the attorney and say what does he need for us to put in there?
It's a really good touch to call the attorney and say, hey, this is Alice. We just listed the property of, the estate of Mrs. Jones. And before we upload, I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of help you understand what we do and see if there's anything that specifically you would like to see in any of the listing language or purchase agreements. And show them that you're proactively looking out to make this more efficient for them, and you don't need a babysitter. It's actually the opposite. Like, you're going to be doing work that they would normally have to ask most people to do or go back and clean up the paperwork. So, and that's good practice on every deal you get. Like, as soon as you get the listing signed, go introduce yourself to the probate attorney, because it's no better time, all right? Like, they see that you're actively helping their clients. So for sure, go do that.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Just for your own awareness,
really stopping everything.
I don't know what that is.
And
hello.
That's what the portfolio would honestly call for, is a rental.
I'm gonna try to mute out whoever that is. Hang on a minute. I don't know who it is. Okay, I found him. Was one of our previous callers. You there, Chad?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
So the one I was just going to add on to that. So and you've already muted her out, right?
I did, yeah.
Jim? Okay.
Yes.
But anyways,
yeah.
if you're not familiar with like the probate timeline and how that might affect your closing, if you're in a state, especially if you're in a state that requires court approval, just think it through and talk it through with your broker. So when you do get an offer, just make sure that offer is contingent upon court approval, and that the closing date is, like with a short sale, I like to not even use a closing date. In the closing date field, I put an asterisk, see additional terms. And then in additional terms, I write closing shall occur within 30 days of probate court approval. And some states, a lot of states require approval. It's typically, pretty expedient, like it doesn't hold up deals. But just make sure, in addition to the language you're looking at in your listing agreement, make sure that you have the right language in the purchase agreement when you get an offer. And that's also something good to address with the attorney when you make contact.
Perfect. Next up is phone number ending in 8477. You're up next. 8477, are you there?
Get it to top notch, and it has a space to look.
All right. Well, it sounds like somebody was prospecting while they had us on hold. All right. Next up is phone number ending in 5564. You're up next. Edwina, are you there? Hello. Edwina, 5564.
Once I unmuted myself, yes, I'm here.
You are there. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I just closed on the probate that I called in about several months ago.
Wow.
That was, yes. So
That's
what
great.
I wanted to share was the extreme learning experience with this one. And knowing that everything that I ran into on this one, oh my gosh, I can't imagine worse, but I'm sure there's worse out there. And this was a situation with an independent administrator that I started talking to in October. He finally got his court date the end of January. I met him the day of the court date when he had his letters. Administration met him at the house with a locksmith, and so began the journey. They were only here 2 days. They went back to California, and I've been periodically mailing boxes of stuff as we have found them. I mean, like wads of credit cards, debit cards, all kinds of things. And just for people to think through all the steps, like this house had to be cleaned out, had to have, like ServPro come in and take care of some things, had to have carpet replaced, cleaning crews, painting crews, estate sale, stager, handyman, plumber, everybody. So I had 9 different vendors that were paid at closing from this, and it was literally 5 days short of 4 months from the day I walked in the door to that house to closing yesterday.
That is awesome. Great story.
And so, one thing I learned is if I walk into a situation like this again, full commission's great. No, there should have been more.
Yep. Hey, there's nothing wrong with, I think it was a video we did recently, like a tip from a trainer, but I mean, my first position at a brokerage, I listed everything at 8% because I didn't know any better. So if you're providing that level of service, you can easily justify an 8% commission. The good news is I have never used more than probably 3 vendors on any single transaction. So you probably got that one out of the way. I've never had one that was quite that involved. And I do want to compliment you for getting 9 vendors to float their invoices all the way to closing. That means you're a good negotiator and you got the right team members. So good work on that.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, that was, we ended up putting on a new roof. Just all kinds of things and working through it with the insurance company, finding out who the insurance company was. And thankfully was still insured. So there was a lot of weirdness to different things of trying to find that.
I'm really interested in hearing the net impact of what you did for the family. So what would it have sold for had they called just a general agent who didn't have that skill set? And like, how much more equity do you feel like you earned for the family in doing all this?
I would say a good $20,000 to $30,000, and I also prevented it from going to foreclosure.
Right.
It was on the agenda for the courthouse steps in April. I believe it was in March, and I got it postponed by talking to them based on my short sale experience. And they also wanted him to they wanted the administrator to make up all the back payments. And I'm like, no, don't send them any money. And we got it extended to June. Now, it did take a little longer than I thought to go under contract, but unfortunately, he smoked in the house. And while that I thought was alleviated, there was still just something in the carpets that I'm hoping the new buyers yank those out. That we had to overcome, so we did end up cutting it close. Funding and disbursement is happening today. So the courthouse steps is a week from Tuesday. So we kind of cut it a little close.
Just under the wire. Great job.
Do you have a probate website?
I do.
I want to challenge you to get a video case study of this deal because it's going to be one of the toughest ones you'll ever do. I guarantee you that. But if you can get the family to sit down and talk with you about the condition the house was in and how stressful that was, the way you put the deal together, and the net result of $30,000 more equity, like that is a golden video to have when people are trying to check you out. So when they get your letter in the mail and they're like, who is this lady? And they land on that page and they hear that experience firsthand from your seller, like while they're in that emotional peak of holy crap, she's the best real estate professional in the world, get them on video and use that. And that's helped me so much. Like I would pull my phone out like at the moment we made a deal and ratified a contract, I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. But I would encourage you to capture that in writing, capture that on video, and get it into your marketing because you deserve a lot of credit. You made a ton of money for that family. And I'm sure that's important to them, and that's the least they can do for you.
Right. Unfortunately, they're already back. From the time they came for the court date, they have not been back. They remote closed. They never had to come back to Texas.
That's fine. Are you a Mac user or a PC user?
PC. So if I can do a recording, he would gladly do that.
Yeah, there's recorders for Skype. You can use Google Hangouts. Zoom is kind of expensive, but Google Hangouts, you can record. Skype has a recorder for like $10. It's however you can do it. Just try to get good lighting and make sure they have a good microphone and do the best you can. But I would certainly do everything I can to get that testimonial because you earned it.
Okay, and then is that something I can put on the website that I get from all the leads?
Yeah, what I would do is just upload the video to YouTube. and then
Okay.
we'll embed it on on your about page or your testimonials page.
Okay. All right.
Excellent.
I will work on that.
Thanks so much for sharing. You're definitely in the mix for Win of the Week. And apologize to everybody. We're definitely going over, but our last caller of the week is phone number ending in 9368. You're up last.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ben from DC, from the Maryland area.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, so I just recently got off a call with a woman, and she said that the property was in North Carolina, and that she actually had to handle it in North Carolina, and that she lives in Maryland, and that's why her probate, I guess, was in Maryland, even though the property is in North Carolina. So is there anything else that I can offer her, or should I just move on to the next caller?
What market is it in?
So the market is in Prince George's, like she died in Prince George's County, I'm guessing. But her property.
Where's the house? Where's the property in North Carolina?
The property is in North Carolina.
But where?
She didn't say. She just said North Carolina.
So, I mean, the one thing you can do is find her the right person. And if you go to All the Leads Mastermind, you've got 4,800 people that are doing this. So I would encourage you to find out where the property is, find somebody in our Facebook group, and work together on the deal. So you can be there on the ground and meet with them. They can be there and handle the sales, the marketing and the physical work of in North Carolina. But what you're experiencing is called ancillary probate. So they had assets and more, right? So they filed in Prince George's, but they have to have an ancillary probate in Mayberry or wherever it is in North Carolina. But I certainly wouldn't walk away from it. We've got the biggest network of people in the country right here that are on this call and in that Facebook group. So find somebody to partner with and put it together.
All right. Excellent. Guys, thank you so much for your patience. Almost nobody left early. We had well over 100 people on the call. Most of you are still here. And thank you so much. I want to congratulate everybody that participated. We had 5 great wins this week. It's going to be a tough decision for Win of the Week, but we'll talk and we'll let you know before the next call. And I want to end this call like I always do. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much to everyone who participated and shared. And I want to challenge each of you, take one idea, one story, one thing you heard that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you being here. Make it a great week, and we will talk to you same time next Thursday.